Hey guys, Matt and Jen here with Canvas Crew. This is our fourth edition of Canvas Connections. We're super excited. Today we have Nina Tullio, who one of our new recent favorites. She's been a salon owner, a stylist for many years, and now she's an amazing salon coach with One N Agency. Hi, Nina.
Hi guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Likewise. We are super pumped. We recently became aware of you through some social media stuff, and we've been following you ever since. And we love everything you stand for and everything you're coaching about. There's so many synergies here, so we're super excited for today.
Connection. So thank you guys for just giving me the time to share some good info and getting the conversation started.
So obviously we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we created Canvas Crew because we wanted to give beauty pros a platform that showcased who they are beyond Instagram. And as much as we love Instagram, we just feel like there's not enough there, right? To really highlight their work, showcase their value, and make them as much or as marketable as they can be, right?
Right.
So we know we talk about this. We talk about KPIs a lot, key performance indicators. Talk to us a little bit why those are so important to follow, set benchmarks for yourself, and really be able to grow with these numbers.
So goal setting in general is just very important. So yes, the key performance indicators are incredibly important, and I'll run through them in a second, but also goal setting in general, both personally and professionally, because I feel like your personal life and your professional life, they run parallel, right? So I feel like it's important to goal set. And, actually there's a statistic out there that says if you are goal setting, you're 10 times more likely to achieve the things that you are striving for in your life and in your business. So the key performance indicators would be more of like your business goals that are based on numbers or percentages. And the ones that we really focus on the most, there's different ones for salon owners and hairstylists, but I'll run through a few for salon for hairstylists. So obviously the first one is your service sales. Service sales, you should be tracking these actually daily, weekly, and monthly. And when you're talking, I can't really give you a goal per se, because it's going to be different for everybody at every level that you are in your career. However, what I do recommend is that you should be increasing that goal between anywhere of 10 and 30% year over year. And you have to figure out what that number is for you. So increasing that every year, of course. And then obviously you have your RTS, which would be your retail to service number. And that's important because you want to know how much retail you're selling against your service goals. So typically, on average, I like to shoot for the stars. So I always aim high. Industry average is between 10 and 12%. But honestly, the average that salons are at, the majority of them could run anywhere between 5 and 8%. So it's an area that we're always constantly working on in this industry. And so 10 to 12 would be ideal, but however, 15% would be amazing. And how you figure that out is obviously you would just take the number of service sales. So if you're doing $2,000 for the week, 10% of that number would be $200. So you should be doing at least 200 in retail. And then we talk about average ticket, which is a little bit about what we talked about when we did our live. And the average ticket, I feel, is really the driving force to understand and know how many heads you should be doing. It really breaks things down a lot smaller for you in terms of your service numbers. So if you know that your average ticket is $100 and your goal is $2,000 a week, then obviously you know that you have to do 20 heads at $100 average ticket. And so how you figure out your average ticket is you take the number of services per day, the service total per day, and then you divide it by the amount of heads that you have actually done for that day. You can do it day, week, and month. And then we talk about one of the other things which is so incredibly important, and not a lot of people want to spend time talking about client retention. But client retention, I'm sorry, I'm all about getting new guests in your chair, but if you're not doing everything that you possibly can to keep them, you just wasted a ton of time, money, and energy. So we always want to focus on the guests that we have, because those loyal guests are more likely to send your referrals.
Right.
So the key performance, or the benchmarks, I should say, for retention is, and again, this varies depending on if you have a level system in your business, but typically you should at least be retaining 50%, at least for new guests. And if you're up in the high, if you're a senior stylist, that number will be higher. And then for your existing guest retention, which is a client that has returned to your space at least 3 times, they should be between 75 and 85% at least. And again, that could range depending on the level that you are. And then last but not least would be your percentage booked. So that would be your productivity for the day, the week, and the month. And your productivity is so important to, I always encourage my stylists to track. We had tracking sheets that they could, that they had hanging on in the back room, and they would track every single day. And they actually started to measure their growth. And percentage booked basically is the amount of hours that you're working per day. And then you actually look at the amount of hours that you're actually booked for the day. So if you work an 8-hour day and you're busy 4 hours out of that day, then you're 50% booked. The benchmark for that is always at least 85%. And that obviously when you're at, if you're at a junior level or a new talent, that will be a little bit lower, and it will climb as you grow, within your business. But those are the top. There are tons of others, especially, pre-booking is another one that's important to look at. But I would believe that those are the top key indicators that you should be tracking every day.
Now, I have a quick question too. So those are all great. We love them. We agree with you. Those are the top. Now, if you're a young stylist, what from a tip perspective do you think would be a good one just to focus on to help grow them pretty quickly or grow? I know there's different things that they're going to be doing, so it's growing, whether it's your average ticket or clients, but what do you think is one they should just focus on if they can?
So for new stylists, I actually like to get them in the habit of focusing on pre-booking, because pre-booking can be uncomfortable because a lot of stylists feel like they're selling the guest at the end of the service. Like, oh, I don't want to ask them to rebook because they think I'm going to, try to, it comes off like they're selling. But in all actuality, you're just getting them on a routine. And I feel like the sooner you start doing that and get that as part of your script, the better off you're going to be. Because to me, I look at pre-booking as securing the bag, and the bag is the money. So when you look ahead at your book 4 to 6 weeks ahead, wouldn't you rather see your book be filled and know that you're guaranteed this amount of money coming in 4 to 6 weeks, as opposed to thinking, oh my gosh, I only have 4 appointments in the next 4 to 6 weeks. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to make all of these expenses work? So pre-booking, I feel, is incredibly important. And then also average ticket too, just to talk about and get in the habit of those add-on services right off the rip. So they're so comfortable as they're growing in their career. So those would probably be my top 2.
Right. So coming from a proactive place versus a reactive place is much more comfortable. But also there's a lot of metrics out there. And I know, like, I'm not a numbers person, and there's a lot of people that are not a numbers person, but I think just to break it down, it's one day of sitting down with this exercise of understanding where you are with all of those numbers that you talked about. Mm-hmm. And then just creating those goals on a daily level, right? Digestible goals, because when they become like monthly goals, sometimes it's like, oh, this is such a big goal for the month. But when they become daily goals, it's like, okay, I come in the morning and I'm really excited about hitting this daily goal. And it makes your day that much more exciting. I mean, for me, I know it would make me that much more excited to be like, okay, I'm 3 away, or I'm 2 away, or this is really exciting. Or, backing into, I want to buy my dream house or buy my dream car. These numbers are critical for growth. And so I think when you make them exciting, or get, when they become that exciting, I think everybody's driven to just sit down with you or, whoever that person is and say, okay, what are these numbers? What do they mean for me, and how do I improve day by day and meet those monthly goals? So I think it's super, super, super powerful.
Yeah,
for sure.
I like that you also showcase in the break room, the productivity, because I also think it's kind of a gamification, right? Because you want to compete,
right?
You want to do better than the other staff members, and you want to really keep it going. So I think that's smart too.
So can we find a worksheet on your website about this stuff?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have a free tracking sheet that they can download and make 1 million copies of. So it has their goal on the top. So whatever that is, if they want to do $100,000 in service sales, and then they would be able to break that down and break the goal down per day. So they know exactly what they have to do, whether they're working a 4-day week or a 5-day week.